Hello everyone, my name is Beth Stanifor Seamster and I am the Children's Ministry Coordinator at Whitewater Area Regional Ministry in Whitewater, Wisconsin. I hope you are having a wonderful Wednesday or whatever day it is that you are doing this family ministry curriculum. I'm filming it to go out on Wednesday though, so I'll say happy Wednesday. Well, as you know, this year we're doing things a little differently. So instead of having us all come together to do our program, I'm trying to modify it so that you can do it as a family at home. I would love it if you would send me an email or phone or call me or whatever and just let me know if you're using it, how it's going for you, if there's any tweaks we can make to make it a little more user-friendly. All that information is on our Facebook page or our website. Anyways, this year our theme is, we're continuing a theme from the last 2 years called The Great Cloud of Witnesses, focusing on people who have loved God and who have shown God's love to their neighbor. And we know, I say this every week, we know that when we do those things, when we live from a place of having experienced the love of God and then showing that love to others, that we make a difference in the world, that we hopefully make things better for people. That's our goal. As John Wesley used to say, that you can't say that you love God and not love God's people. The two are intertwined. So everyone we've learned about this year has done those two things. We've learned about the Apostle Paul, Lydia from the book of Acts, Saint Genevieve of Paris, Saint Bathilde, and this week our witness is a woman by the name of Hildegard of Bingen. Now she's a very interesting woman, and I'm going to read this book in a second. But one of the things I love about the curriculum that we've been doing is that it's really easy to think that people who lived 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago had lives that were so different than ours and had experiences that were so different than ours that they have nothing to teach us. That's not true. Every week that we learn about someone, regardless of when they lived in history, we learn about the ways that their love of God inspired them to live in the world as a Christian and to try to do the very best that they could for themselves and others. And so we see that same spirit alive today, and we see ourselves as a link in a chain of people trying to live out the goodness of God. So let's go ahead and learn about Hildegard of Bingen, and then I will invite you afterwards to do some of the activities that are on the Google Docs page where the link is below. So Hildegard of Bingen, and it says right here, scientist, composer, healer, and saint. She's a really, really intense and interesting woman, written by, the author's name is Denis, and published by, it says Wisdom Tales in an imprint of World Wisdom Incorporated. Okay, I'm going to try to hold it so that you can see here. I'll move forward a little bit. Once upon a time, in 1098 AD, in Mainz, Germany, a little girl was born named Hildegard. Now, what I learned from some of my research is that she was the 10th child in her family. Can you imagine having 10 brothers or sisters? That would be a lot. So I'll step out and read so that you can really see the pictures, okay? So you won't see me as much here. She was a very special girl because when she shut her eyes, she saw lights, and inside those lights were pictures of heaven. When she was 3 years old, her inside lights became so dazzling and bright that they would make her whole body tremble and shake. Her lights told her many things. If she looked at a mother cow, she could tell the color of its calf before it was born. She could also predict the future. But after seeing so many things with her lights, she got terrible headaches. Her parents decided to send her to the Benedictine cloister of Mount Saint Disibode. The monastery was on a beautiful mountain illuminated by the sun. It was a place where people who saw God could go and pray. I'm just going to apologize. There are some names in here I'm not going to pronounce well, so please forgive me for that. Okay, here we go. Hildegard learned reading, music, singing, biblical history, prayer, spinning, and work. She was so musical that she could hear the singing of an entire prayer service just once and perform it. She said, "There is the music of heaven in all things, and we have just forgotten how to hear it until we sing it." When Hildegard was 18, she became a nun and took the Benedictine habit. She was so wise and so kind that when she was older, Hildegard was elected abbess of the cloister. That meant she was in charge. And when they talk about taking the habit, they mean she became a nun and wore the clothes of a nun. But now when Hildegard shut her eyes, her secret lights were so blinding and her headache so great that she could hardly bear it any longer. Then suddenly she heard a voice that said, "This is the voice of God. When you see a great light inside of you, that too is the light of God. You must let other people see what you see. You must let your inside lights shine out." Okay, I'm gonna bring it a little closer for you. And so Hildegard began to tell what she saw in her secret land of lights to a nun and monk who wrote it down in a book called Know the Ways of God. Hildegard's secret lights showed how to live for God and enter his heavenly city. As Hildegard wrote down what she saw, her headaches also went away. But she wondered if she should tell everything she saw in her secret land of lights. She thought, "I am just a poor little woman. I am just a feather on the breath of God." The greatest monk of the time, Bernard of Clairvaux, told her to continue sharing her secret lights, and so did Pope Eugenius III. When Hildegard was 53, she finished her book, Know the Ways of God, and became famous. Now everyone wanted to see her, but the cloister wasn't big enough. Hildegard prayed and received heavenly guidance to move her nun to Rupertsberg, near the town of Bingen. And so she became known as Hildegard of Bingen. At age 65, Hildegard finished her second work, the Book of Life's Merits, showing how man can rise to heaven by overcoming his faults. Hildegard and her nuns could cure many people because she had studied the ways of heaven and earth. She now finished her third book, Physica, on natural history, and a fourth book, Causes and Cures, a scientific and medical encyclopedia. Her fifth book, the Book of Divine Works, was on the activity of God that came from her 5 secret lights. Hildegard wrote 5 more books, and one of them was a cookbook. So great was Hildegard's secret land of lights, so energetic, so bright, and so full of ideas that Hildegard was able to compose 77 symphonic songs and an operatic morality play. She also wrote she wrote hundreds of letters all over the world to emperors, popes, bishops, archbishops, nuns, and nobility. And she invented a language. And she invented an alphabet and created a whole new language. In her 60s and 70s, Hildegard made many preaching, teaching, healing, and prophesying tours throughout Germany, and organized and reformed many monasteries. At the age of 81, Hildegard died on September 17, 1179. She has been considered a saint by Catholics and many Protestants who celebrate her life and everything she gave to the world from her secret land of heavenly lights. So when we learn about Hildegard, we see a woman who had so many different talents. And she used her love of God and her life experiences to help in so many avenues. Science, music, religious studies, helping people understand what the light of God might look like, what the kingdom of heaven might look like. She truly let her light shine in the world, and in doing so loved God and loved his people. Well, I invite you individually or as a family to think about what gifts you bring. What has God given you that is unique to you or your family, and how can you use that to make a difference in the world? Blessings and have a wonderful week.